I want you to remove sentiment and understand the reality of this video. Some years ago, I was listening to one of the broadcasts of Nnamdi Kanu. He said that people in Sokoto State, in Borno State, in Southern Kaduna, in Plateau State, and Benue State, these major areas where people are getting killed and attackers are always coming to their community to dehumanize them and so on and so forth. He said, if you people are not allowed to set up a security outfit, bandits can kill all of you. Let 1 million people gather and enter bush and chase the bandits away. This was what Nnamdi Kanu said. And you know what? As I speak to you yesterday, 1 million people, 1 million march of Sokoto residents, they enter bush. Why do they enter bush? The bandits adopted their emir, killed their emir, come back again, adopted 150 people. Why they were mourning the emir? They said enough is enough. So they were chanting, may Allah help us. This is a war. It's either the bandits kill us or we'll kill the bandits.
Please, everybody should help me to understand this. I don't get it anymore because I've been trying to put up the pieces of this puzzle and it has been difficult for me. How can you tell me that Fulani headsmen that said that they are fighting for a just cause, which happens to be, which is the proposal that they gave to us at the initial stage, that they have been looking is just for them to be able to rear cattle in different states of Nigeria without restriction. Now they came up with this genocide of killing their own people, killing their mothers, killing their brothers and sisters. I don't get it. I have been trying to understand what is going on. I couldn't until I came across this video that opened my eyes to what has been going on, the reason why this killing has been going on in Nigeria, and the reason why government intentionally allowed this wickedness to be going on in our country without doing anything about it. Listen to Dr. Njimanze expose the secrets that is behind these killings that has been going on in northern states.
Raised an alarm through a letter you transmitted to the National Assembly, the Senate specifically. And in that letter, in fact, you touched the whole world. You copied the UN, you copied ILO, you copied the Conference of Bishops in Africa, Asia, Europe. You touched everywhere in the world. And you talked about a planned genocide of doctors in Nigeria. It's very disturbing. Can you explain or expand on that and let us know what is happening really?
Yes, thank you very much for highlighting this issue. The alarm was raised again because we've talked about this in the past, that when the Global Fund, through the Federal Ministry of Health, started sending people for the third survey of health professionals and private health institutions. They were going around collecting data of location and personnel in all private hospitals in Nigeria. And this data they are actually collecting, that's totally unconstitutional. You cannot collect private data for any purpose first without seeking the consent of the organizations involved, personal consent of the people involved, and explaining to them what this data is for. One, a foreign agent cannot collect data in Nigeria. So the Global Fund, funded by Bill Gates, has no locus to collect any data because health is national security and the data is protected under the 1999 Constitution. So they were not supposed to do that in the first place. Now, let's see the history of this data collection. They had approached the association. Then I was the chairman of the Association of Private and Medical Practitioners of Nigeria, Imo State, and we went to a national council, national executive meeting in Aba, and they came there to ask us that they want to collect data from the Global Fund funded by Bill Gates.
Just a minute, sir. Is it the Bill Gates group that approached, or they approached you through an intermediary?
No, the Bill Gates group it was funding an NGO who came to make a presentation at the National Executive Council meeting, telling us they want the data to make yellow pages. yellow pages, and this was for doctors. And what was this? Yellow pages for doctors, so that they can have a directory where all the doctors are. Now they were asking for a number of things. They were asking for photographs, they were asking for fingerprints with biometric data, and they were asking for location, how many staff, who are the staff, the telephone numbers, and all that. We patiently had them out, and after that, hearing them out, we now told them to excuse us, and they left. And when they left, we now started putting things together. First of all, it would be illegal under medical ethics to have such a directory, because called yellow pages, because that will be primarily advertising, which is not allowed ethically. Secondly, they were a foreign agent, because they have no right. This is national security. Just like going to a police station, I want to know all the policemen here, all the police stations, where their locations are, their phone numbers, and all that. The Nigerian police will just arrest you for doing that, even asking them. So the same thing is health. Health is under national security and is all protected. If you were to have the information of all the police locations, you can wipe out the police, so they will not get protected. The same thing if you were to know all the locations and telephone numbers of the doctors and the health personnel, you can also wipe the whole health personnel. And what will happen? So we will not have a health system. Then we have to now depend on a foreign health system, which we do not know the consequences. So when we noticed that this was happening, and coincidentally, we now got a message, an SOS message from Benue, that in Moko, a town in Benue, that a pharmacist, a famous pharmacist, was killed by the doctors. So now that's what was alleged, and so now a group of mercenaries of Boko Haram, they call them, we are now seeking all the doctors to kill them. And the doctors had gone into hiding. So we now,
when did this happen?
This happened that was in 2013, I think. And then we said, wait a minute, how come? They said, no, there was a professional field that the doctor said that the pharmacist was attending to and taking away their patients, and the pharmacist denied it, and all of a sudden they killed they alleged that the doctors killed the pharmacist, and now the pharmacist and their association hired some mercenaries to go and kill the doctors. So we now understood that actually this was a setup, and a well-conspired setup by the people who were talking to us, the Bill Gates organization, and they were using their mercenaries to attack doctors. So we really understood that the people who were talking to us were, even before they got a formal cooperative MOU from us to participate in their program, they were already going to the fields and collecting data, because the doctors didn't know, who in different localities didn't know exactly what this was all about. And then we now realize the plan that they were building up a
database.
Yes, a GPS guided mapping, as they called it, the mapping of all the hospitals and the health professionals, and using the GPS in their phones to be able to track all the doctors and the medical personnel. They have their numbers. So this raised an alarm, and we were able to alert people, and all of a sudden, under the Buhari administration, things seem to have piped down. Now, immediately after Buhari's administration came to an end, they came up again with the so-called third phase of this survey. So this whole new program is what they are on now, to map and target and kill the doctors. This was exactly what they did for the farmers. Bill Gates donated, in quote, 14 million cell phones, which they call the electronic wallets. The idea was that they were going to give 2 billion naira loan or grant to farmers, make sure they eliminate all the seed growers in the country. So when they eliminate the seed growers, the natural seeds will never be available again. And how they did that was very simple. What they did was that they just gave 14 million cell phones to all Nigerian farmers, so they could track those people who were being paid for seeds. So when other farmers go to them, they go to buy seeds, and then they know that this person was being paid for seeds, so he's the one selling the seeds. So they now use the GPS coordinates on these so-called electronic wallets, which are just cell phones, to target all of them and eliminate them. When you eliminate the seed, natural seed growers, there will be no other alternative to the GMO, genetically modified organisms, foods and seeds. So they brought these seeds as improved seeds. The other farmers, they drove them into IDP camps and came to these IDP camps under the different NGOs and international agencies, presented these GMO seeds. So the farmers will now leave, they will temporarily hold their military activities in those areas, so the farmers will go and resettle. When they resettle, they start planting the GMO seeds. Once you plant the GMO seeds that first time, that first seed you get from that your maize, if you eat it, that will be the last you are going to eat. Because if you take the seed from that GMO corn and plant it, it will not grow. The gene that allows replication has been switched off. So you have to go back to the person who produced the initial seed. That is, in this case in Nigeria, it will be Monsanto. They will now use them to reproduce these seeds. So these seeds are what actually makes the agricultural produce to move on. So they are using this technique to eliminate all the natural seed growers. And then when the remaining farmers don't have any other place to get seeds than to go to them, to go to them for that. Now, where do the doctors come in? The doctors come in the fact that when they capture the food security, which they actually have done now, because most of the seed growers have been killed. Just to give you an example, between 2015 and 2018, 37,500 people, victims, were killed by Boko Haram. These were farmers. Then of these 37,500, 32,000, that's 85%, were Muslims. 5,500 were Christians. And in states like Zamfara, 60% of the victims were Hausa, 40% were Fulani. So it became clear that this has nothing to do with Islamic terrorism. It has to do with elimination of all the seed growers. Now they have eliminated.
As you can see now, the killings has nothing to do with Islamic terrorism. It's all about food control. And it is powered and engineered by Bill Gates Foundation. So this Bill Gates Foundation, anything that he touches dies. And that is the reason why he visits Nigeria. Because they have our president and every other person out there that is legislating laws in our country. They have them all in their pockets. So now the question is, why GMO seeds? What's the meaning of GMO seeds? What are GMO seeds? So GMO seeds are seeds that you plant once, you are done with it. Just only once. It can only germinate once. And it cannot germinate again. Why? Because the gene that is responsible for multiplication, for replication, it has been switched off according to the doctor. So it is only once that you plant it. So if you want to plant it again, that means you have to go back to the people that produced it. You can imagine how long it will take them to develop this kind of wickedness just because they want to control the production of food. So now the question is, why would they take their time? Why would they give up time to develop this kind of wickedness? Why would they do that? So it is not new in the Bible where Jesus Christ told us that it will be difficult for you to buy and sell. And also the Bible made us to understand that in those days, that if the days were not shortened, even the elect will not be saved. So you can imagine the amount of wickedness that will be on earth. That is why when you go to Canada and US today, Bill Gates and all these other big companies, they've bought all the farmlands available in US and in Canada and in so many other places. That is what they are also doing in all these our African nations, as particularly Nigeria and Kenya and every other African nation. This thing is going on. People don't even know what is going on. Now, to add salt to injury, our government, our security agencies are telling us that they cannot be able to locate and they can't do anything about it because their hands are tied down. The people that are responsible for the genocide are the ones that put them in power, so they can't do anything about it. But look at the NSAS, not NSAS. Look at the bad government protest that took place the other day. The Nigerian citizens, the few people that were carrying Russian flags, these people were able to identify them with CCC television, and they went to arrest them. They were swift to do that. Whenever you want to do anything that goes contrary to the government will just come straight to you. But if it is the ones that they are financing, the wickedness that they are engineering, they will tell you that they are trying their best, that they can't do anything about it. All those people that were carrying Russian flags, they've been arrested. The government had to fish them out with their CCTV and arrest them. They know how to, but these are people, these wicked terrorists that are living in the bush for how long now? For how many years now? This wickedness has been going on in Nigeria. Our government are busy telling us story from one story to the other. They can't do anything about it. Can you imagine the wickedness, the deception that is going on in Nigeria? Not just in Nigeria, in every other African nation, being powered by Bill Gates and the Bill Gates Foundation and the Western influence in our nation.
Thoughts. Please be respectful with your comments. Also, please click the like, click the notification bell, and subscribe to this channel.